Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Top of the time zone. Welcome to the Intervision FM universe on this very special St. Patrick's Day special event. Johnny J in the house, president and station manager of IntervisionFM.com. I'm Alan C. We've got a very special show you're going to want to miss here on Intervision FM broadcast.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's who we love and that's who we serve.
Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather, Soul James.
He wanted to get another word in there. James Brown, soul center of the universe.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, welcome everybody. This is a special version of our show for this afternoon. And so for the people that usually like download it later on, don't forget to share it, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, we got this person. They subscribe and then they unsubscribe and then they subscribe. I'm not even sure what's going on with that, but you got to make up your mind. If you're going to subscribe and stick around.
Stick around. It's a lot of fun here at the Intervision FM universe.
Yeah. So this is interesting because my wife she watches a lot of these things that they show the court proceeding, what happens like after the verdict and all that kind of stuff. And so this was kind of interesting to me because I said, well, I want to get it from one of the people that were there. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to do something that I don't think any of these things have ever done. In this situation, they try to paint this person as if he was like a gang member, and he was none of that stuff. But I want to get some information from people that knew him, who he was, and who he is. He's still alive. He's still around, and we're gonna give you another picture of who this guy was. And there's an old proverb. And I was gonna find it, but I just didn't have time about proverbs to say sometimes. You have to watch these people that you hang out with because sometimes these people can get you in a world of trouble. So anyway, so let's talk about our sponsors.
Christian Brothers Moving Company in the great state of Colorado, right here, based in Inglewood, also in Phoenix, Arizona, and also in Texas. These folks are real good friends of Intervision FM. They've been our sponsors for a number of years, and if you need help moving across the nation, they're the ones to talk to. They're just good, upstanding folks. Family-owned operation. About 28 people or so are employed, and folks, we got to stick together in this day and age where it's the consumer against the corporation. We also want to thank Eeny Meeny Grants. We want to thank Denver Arts and Venues. We want to thank the Colorado Art Relief Fund as well. All these folks help us with helping grassroots musicians, whether they're physically disabled, financially challenged, or both, to get the stuff produced, promoted, and out there for your enjoyment.
Yes, and if you're like an artist and you want to get to know like the business of music, contact us and we'll let you know. Like right now, I gotta tell you, the day these two is 16 and 18, and I told them this recording studio they can go to, and they sent me an email. I don't know if I told you this, and they said, at this recording studio, can we bring our weed? And I'm thinking like, okay, you guys are 16 and 18. They have a law that says you can't sell it or to anybody over 21. I don't think so, but but it was just interesting that they would ask. I mean, if they could bring the weed. I said, maybe at some, I would think that if it's because I bet these guys get some government money because it's just a whole youth center for youth, and they get a lot of donations. But oh well. But so is this interesting? Some of the stuff that they get, some of the stuff that happens in the recording industry, and it's just fascinating people. Also, we have the podcasting school. The podcasting school that talks about, it's an 8-week course or it's a 16-week course in podcasting for the blind and disabled podcaster, and we're getting that up and going. We have a few people that are going to be starting that here soon. So we encourage you to go to our website, innovationrecords.org, innovationrecords.org, and find out more about our podcast service as well. And we're a 501c3 nonprofit, so our for donations, you go to paypal.me/innovationdenver. That's paypal.me/innovationdenver. All right. So, and I see iPhone has just joined the meeting. So,
all right. So we've got a number of guests. Where do you want to start? We're talking a little bit about freedom of speech. That's our First Amendment afforded us by the United States Constitution. And, there are certain places and times where we need to be responsible with our speech for sure. But we've always been told here in America that this is a free country and that we have freedom of speech. There are some times where there are zones where freedom of speech just isn't something that you want to try to exercise because, well, there are trusted officers of the court that if you were to kind of give an opinion of their character, you could get held in contempt of court, which, wow, that's interesting.
I got to give you some throwback. Back when the Black Panthers were around,
yes,
it was this one brother, and I don't remember his name, but the judge kept on saying, "You got to stop talking, don't stop interrupting your lawyer." And I'm not gonna. And so what they did was, and I don't know if they can do this today, they duct taped him to a chair and scrapped this is tape on it. I think I just don't think they could do that today. I think they would. Yeah, it's like that was back in what, late 60s, 70s, something like that, when the Black Panthers were around and stuff. So, man, it's like, but that was back before they allowed like video television stations in and making television shows out of it and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah. But I would love to maybe do something like that here in Denver, because I bet there's some things going on that we don't even know. So anyway, so let's introduce our guest. He's a dad. He's a hip hop Christian contemporary hip hop artist. He's let's see, he sells merch. He's an entrepreneur, and Deangelo, Sheila, I can welcome you to the show today. And I got to unmute yourself. Let's see.
Hey.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, so I'm gonna think like, where should we start the chart? Because in the courtroom, they did their best to put your little brother in a different light than who he really was, and I'm not sure why the other information didn't lean more towards like, no, that's not who he is. This is who he is. So tell us about this your younger brother, and give us some insight, and then we'll ask some questions along that line. Oh, are you there?
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
I only heard bits and pieces.
Oh, okay. Tell us a little bit about your little brother, your youngest brother.
Oh well, so what you want to know,
like say like we'll start like from the time like he was like, I don't know, 13 or something like that. Like, what kind of person did you find him to be? And was he an entrepreneur like you, or like, what was his personality like?
I won't say he wasn't too different from any other young man or kid that was growing up. I mean, it wasn't nothing specific that far as made him stand out as a bad kid, or any signs that this type of trouble would come his way. I mean, talented, smart, one of the main key. I don't know, man. He was a regular kid.
So when they started demonizing your brother, your younger brother, or that puts you in a place where, obviously and rightly so, because you knew him to be something other than what they were portraying him as. You wanted to make sure that all the information was out there. Now, it almost sounds like to me they didn't want to hear some of the good stuff about your brother. And
Right.
It almost kind of sounds like, well, you gave the judge an opinion of his character, which seemed to net some negative results. Did they slap you with a contempt charge?
No, they didn't give me a contempt charge. They tried to give me two F3s, felonies.
Fine.
Right. Felony for threatening the jury. They threatened the jury, or intimidating the jury, and intimidating and threatening the DA.
Wow. So they didn't even mess around and just try to cite you for a contempt charge. They're actually pushing this to, because you called. Well, let me back up. You mentioned that the individuals were not of the greatest character, so they went ahead and they slapped you with this. What is their basis for that? I mean, wow.
So that was kind of like the main issue, the main concern. That's like the main question. Like, why was it so extreme? Like, what did I really say to deserve to go to jail and for 3 days, and almost risk losing my home and my kids and getting a $50,000 bond? Like what was so serious over a $50,000 bond without a weapon being involved, or without nobody getting injured or hurt? I mean, the same words is sharper double-edged sword must be true then, because it got me a $50,000 bond without even touching nobody.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
It's the FBI cutting me off again.
So
Okay.
I gotta say, I mean, our judicial system is, in my mind, a little bit out of control, where they will go ahead and do no cash bail on certain individuals. Yet, if somebody calls a judge or a jury member a hard thing, a dirty dog, or a lower than a snake's belly, that could theoretically get you $50,000 stay in a gray barred hotel, as well as risk of loss of whatever collateral is put out if you were to jump that bond. That is amazing to me. That just.
But do you think they do it? And then did you end up telling what was the end of the story, or you're in the middle of it?
No, he asked me a question.
Okay. I'm just thinking, like, could it be used as an intimidation kind of thing?
Right. And see, my whole thing is, I can see where they where they're trying to come from with it. But to me, that's that manipulation that they try to use. You know what I'm saying? Instead of using common sense, they want to use manipulation and try to use certain words and try to do certain things to justify what they're doing. You see what I mean? That's what they
Right.
try to do, use different words. So my whole thing is, where did the threat come from? Let's be honest. If we listen to the recording or whatever, there was no threats made. It was nothing made. It was just, if you ask me, they was just appalled by the fact that I spoke in the courtroom because I'm supposed to be silent and I'm not supposed to say nothing. And they got all the power in the courtroom. So they wasn't expecting that. So really they didn't know what to do. That's why they took me to jail that day, or downstairs that day, let me out, then came and got me again, then let me back out. That's because they confused. And when you hit them with something different, they don't be ready for it because they too used to the same thing and people reacting and folding the same way.
Right. Okay. So let's give it. Let's for the people who weren't in the court. So was there did they have like a microphone for people to come up? Because sometimes they have this microphone. Would you like to say anything to the jury and all that kind of stuff? Did they have a microphone or set up for stuff like that? Or would they just say, well, you're out of line because we didn't ask you to speak? Or how did that?
They didn't say nothing. They don't never say nothing. They say everything. They say the same thing what everybody else say when you tell them the truth. I don't want to argue with you. That's what they said.
Wow.
And was this a judge or was this the court officer, or who said that they don't want to argue with you? Who said that?
No, I was just being funny with that.
Oh,
but really, they didn't really give no specific of why. To be honest, that's kind of like the question. Like
now,
why?
did the judge, did he bang on the desk, says you're out of order? You know, like they see in the movies. You know, like they beat on the.
He said, "Get him out of here."
Wow.
That's okay. So that's what they said. Okay, that's what he said, the judge.
Mm-hmm.
So the bailiff went ahead and the bailiff hauled you out. You went to a place and they held you there for a minute before they took you
Or let you go.
jail. Yes, is that?
Before they let me go, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, before they let me go. So it's kind of confusing. It just make you wonder and it make you question like what's really going on and what was this about? Right. And
That's
then
right.
you just dropped all the. Why you give me a $50,000 bond and the next day drop all the charges? Like, what made you do that?
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is important to understand. They went ahead and charged this gentleman, made his family try to come up with some collateral, then go and drop the charges, folks.
All of them.
Wow.
Now tell us, you said you saw things in that courtroom as far as like other people that were coming in before your case, before your brother's case or stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
I don't know what.
Well, you said you saw a lot of people that looked, you know, with your complexion.
Oh, that's when I was incarcerated. When I was incarcerated, I saw a lot of young Black men that was facing just homicides and a lot of charges. And don't get me wrong, if you're guilty, you're guilty. But that's what be proven. You're guilty. You can't just automatically railroad me and judge me and demonize my character just because my culture, you feel my culture has a reputation of doing this or something. You know, the law is the law and it has to be proven. And it's just too many times where, you know, we see this scenario in this situation where young men especially the young Black men, because they don't have the knowledge of or the wisdom when it comes to this system. So they're like easy bait, easy target. You know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of them in the same situation, and it goes even deeper than it goes deeper than young Black men even catching cases or getting railroad. I mean, that goes back to the circumstances that they was placed in the first place, with the lack of resources and the discrimination, and already born with 2 stripes, being Black and a man, already born with 2 stripes. That's why it's so easy to get that third one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The wonderful thing about our American judicial system was once that we were innocent until proven guilty. And I think that's what Brother Deangelo is talking about here, is the idea that we have been told all these things, which are true, obviously, that we are innocent until proven guilty. But now we're actually being made to stand up for these rights that are being lost on a daily basis. So the big thing is to get involved at the local, state, and federal levels in any way that you can. If you have to run for that dog catcher position to move laterally within the systems which exist, then do it. I think the big thing is, man, if we want change, instead of complaining about the changes that we want, we need to actually be that change. And
plus those judges,
yes.
when they come up on the voting thing, if you don't know that guy, it's a place called knowyourjudge.org.
It's a
.com, yes, .com,
yeah.
knowyourjudge.com, and you can find out about these different judges, and you can change the course of that way, because sometimes I see those names of the judges. I don't know any of these guys. Now that website is there, so you can find out who these people are, and are they for you, or are they just judges, or are they just people that railroad people? Right. And I'm sure you'll remember the name of this guy. So if you ever see him like on the ballot, you'll say no. You can go around and tell your friends, hey, don't vote for this guy. Get him off the bench. Right?
Absolutely. You know what I don't understand? What I don't get is how a young Caucasian boy, how he can just go shoot up a whole school, right? And then turn around, shoot up the whole movies. And then right in public, they say they still defend their culture and their pride, no matter what. They defend their pride no matter what. When they shoot up the school, then they considered insane or mental health. You see what I'm saying? And then if a black person shoot up just a person or anything, they are a menace to society. So I'm like, how did you just label my brother as a murderer on national TV in front of everybody and just ruin his reputation, character? Even if he do get appealed, they still gonna look at him as like a murderer, so he's still gonna have to deal with that. And you just called him a murderer, but you called the person who, and he didn't even pull a trigger, but you called the person that just shot 35 people in one day mental health.
Oh, tell me the part about, like, it was somebody that came in and stood up for your brother's character, and he was saying that he wasn't a part of this gang and stuff like that. Yeah. Who was that person? And tell me about that.
Dr. De La Cruz, a gang specialist that used to be a gang member who served a lot of time. And he went up there and he basically laughed at him and said, "How is y'all trying to label this a gang shooting? Like how? When it's a woman involved, and they lied and said that my little brother was in the gang territory. Like, how can you say all these things that's not facts? And not only are they not facts, you didn't prove them to be facts."
Yeah, and you may not know that, because me and Alan, we talk about this all the time. Right now, the Democratic Party and the Rhino Republicans, they're trying to make it illegal for people to have concealed carry, to go to a gun range and learn how to use a weapon well, the right way, and how to, the times when to pull out the gun and when not to pull out the gun. So I have a feeling that they know that minorities are becoming aware of certain things, and so they're trying to criminalize the law-abiding people, because they have a feeling that if Black people or minorities find out about this, they'll turn around and start doing it the legal way, like we did back in the days of the Black Panther. So instead of trying to make guns illegal or whatever towards criminals, they're going after the average citizen, because they know that this wave is happening, right? And so I'm looking at it like seeing it like a strategy kind of thing, because when the Black Panthers knew their rights about guns, and as long as they were pointing the gun towards the ground, you couldn't say nothing about them having a gun and stuff like that, and they could cock it all they wanted, and they could tell the police what code that was that said they couldn't take their gun away, the police started getting like afraid because they had information that they weren't, well, according to the cops, they weren't supposed to have.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, this
And-
is the interesting reason why when our most popular president ever elected in American history took office recently, why he had to put trigger warnings on our national archives dealing with our United States Constitution, the old outdated text, the old outdated language. And interestingly enough, the Supreme Court just very recently came back with some court rulings that defined what the founders and framers meant by words like militia in the 1700s. Militia being a body of free men, or free men and women in our case, since we want to make everybody equal, as it was supposed to be within the founders and framers' vision.
And it's written in there, your right to bear arms should not be infringed.
That's right. That's right.
And they're trying every way to infringe all of our rights as far as like who can have guns. And remember, like during the days of the Jim Crow law, when the KKK was riding through the black neighborhood, they took away the guns, and we saw how that went when they could shoot at us and we couldn't shoot back at them. So they're trying to almost like repeat history again.
Well, let's break this down for a second. If you don't have freedom of speech, you don't have freedom of thought. That's our First Amendment. They're going after our freedom of speech as we speak. If you don't have freedom of protection to be able to protect yourself and your family from a home invasion or an intruder or something like that, then you don't have freedom in my mind.
But see,
go ahead.
But see, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Whatever right that you do have, they try to find a way around it. Like the freedom of speech. If you say if you exercise your freedom of speech, you still gotta be careful because you made a threat. Oh, you threatened me. Oh, you did this. Like damn, you got a law and a code and everything for my speech, it's like, man, can I, you know what I mean? I can't even go in the store. It ain't nothing. I can't even go in the store. The cup costs.
You're right.
Ain't even free. You gotta pay for the cup. Like, man, can I breathe?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. When are you going to start charging us for the air that we're breathing?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if these rights go away, like the Third Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, these are all underpinning rights, and they're protected by the First and Second Amendment. If these rights, the right to have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to bear arms, or the right to bear arms, if these fall, the rest of the Constitution won't be far behind.
Okay. Now I need to bring up something else.
Okay.
Have you guys ever watched the TV show Rifleman? It's an old movie, black and white, old TV show, black and white. Back in those days, you could be like 6 years old, and your dad or older adult taught you how to use a gun. Now, go forward. Ice-T was saying like somebody just gave him a gun and said, "You'll know how to use it when the time comes." No, you won't know how to use it. And they're trying to make it illegal for younger people to have guns so they can go to a fire range, learn how to use it, and learn when to use it and when not to use it. And of course, the young man that was in the car with your younger brother, he did not know when to use it and when not to use it because they put such a stigma around it that he couldn't go to a shooting range, learn that, no, you don't pull out a gun just because someone bumps your car. You use it to defend yourself, not to show how bad you are. And because of they're fogging up the rules about guns and then making it illegal for people under 21 to have certain guns and all this kind of stuff, when in this society everybody used to have, there used to be high schools where people would have gun racks on their car. They would drive to school and it was just normal. Right. But it's just the way they're trying to twist it now. You're a young person, you say, I need a gun for protection, but you don't get the training you need so you know when to use it and when not to use it. And in those classes, they say, never take out a gun unless you're planning to kill that person, not to warn, but kill somebody with that gun. Don't take it out to warn somebody. Take it out because you mean business.
That's right.
But it's just weird how this young man, who got caught up in this now, he just killed some family, some lady had family and stuff like that, and it didn't have to go there, but it was because of lack of training and the stigmatism that's saying that we are trying to get rid of all the guns, so we're going to criminalize and do these things and just make it seem like nobody should have guns when the world is evil and there's evil people in the world, but there's some training that has to be done with these younger people. So
I think you're absolutely right. And it's not just training with weapons, it's training with words, because, like Brother Deangelo was saying, we do have to be kind of careful with our speech at times. With those rights that we have, we also have responsibility. So, we need to train our minds. We need to train our bodies. We need to, train our spirits so that we know how to walk and how to proceed. And for that, the armor of God is really the best way to do that. You've got the helmet of salvation protecting your mind, the breastplate of righteousness protecting your heart, the belts of truth protecting your loins so that you don't get cut, below the belt and bleed out, spiritually speaking. You got the shoes of the preparation of the gospel of peace, where you can walk where at all possible in peace with anybody. But the key word there is where at all possible.
right.
You might want to walk in peace with people, but they don't want to walk in peace with you. So you got the shield of faith and the sword of the Spirit. The shield of faith protecting you from all of the fiery darts of the enemy. The sword of the Spirit, obviously, being the word of God, which gives us the strength to use the words, to use our minds, to use our bodies in ways that are pleasing to God. And we're not meant to be man pleasers.
So Deangelo, there's a few other members here that know the situation. Is there anything that they want to add to this before we button it up here, or you?
Say that again, Johnny.
Is there anything else that you want to add to this before we close out the show, or anybody in the other people that are in the room as well? Is there anything that they or you want to add to this before we close out?
Well, I know you're going to air it out and the other people going to hear eventually. And all I got to say is, a lot of people say it ain't a race thing. And I know I'm not racist, but it is a race thing at the end of the day. And time has proved that over and over and over. And it's going to continue to be the same thing. I think Alan said until we do something about it, that's going to be the only way that we're going to be able to start seeing progress and elevation and structure and unity. Until we start realizing and start standing up with each other instead of always fighting each other and killing each other, making a job even easier. You see what I'm saying? Because it went from physical slavery to mental slavery now. So now they went from trying to control us and putting them chains on us and keeping us locked down in the space in the same place to we don't got to do that no more, because now we can let them off the noose and the chains now, because now we got them mentally to the point where they can kill themselves. So until there's unity, until I can walk down the street without getting mugged, my own brother mugging me or hating on me, then it's gonna continue to be the same. It's gonna be black genocide until we all ride.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, we appreciate you like sharing this with you. And right now, he's your young brother. He's going into to appeal this, and you'll be there, I guess, in his corner to give him good advice about what to accept and what not to accept in the appeal. And do you know how long that's going to take for that to circle back around?
With me, I'm a firm believer in God. It could take 6 months from now. I mean, 7. It could take 7 months from now. That's all in God's hands.
And I don't know if you know, like Reverend Leon Kelly. you might get in touch with him too, because he could probably have some flex in this too.
Yeah,
Definitely. And people that will come in later on this, leave your comments below, and when we get to them, like sometimes we'll get to them a day after YouTube, Facebook, D Live, Rumble, Getter, and we're in a bunch of Truth Social. We're in a bunch of them. So leave your comments below. And if you don't hear from it, with the email info@innovisionfm.com, info@innovisionfm.com. If we don't get to your answers within 24 hours, because we're a bunch of blind guys here, so sometimes we don't get to all these answers that soon. So anyway, this is a special show, and we just wanted to do this because I thought this was just and I also want to know, Deangelo, was your brother working at the time? So he was taken away from his work as well, or what was happening at that?
He wasn't working at the time. He's a young, figuring out life, hanging out with friends.
Okay. Because I'm thinking like here's a worker here that he's missing out and taking care of his family or whatever. Huh?
He have 2 girls.
Oh, he has 2 daughters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like he's not even able to pursue something so he could take care of his daughters and everything like that. So so we want to wish that he gets out, that they do a retrial, and that all the stuff could be put behind, because the person that did the crime was the one that should have paid for the crime, but just because you're in a car and someone makes a bad decision, yeah, I know the law of the land says everybody is a part of it, but if they let that one boy go, then they should have let Deangelo, your brother, go, right? Because he wasn't an instigator in this. He was just driving a car, and he didn't know that this young man was so hot-tempered that he was going to get out and not know the power of a gun, that you just can't be shooting at something and then expect that nothing's going to happen bad afterwards. So
that's right.
And just to throw in there too, not only did they paint him as a gang member and said he was in a gang territory, they was actually at a red light. So the little guy who hopped out shooting, he did that like on his own. My brother ain't stopped the car. It wasn't the instant where he stopped the car or something like that. No, they was hit from behind at the red light. And then the person hopped out and did what they did. And they said that my brother orchestrated that. What was
I wonder, was any of the family there from the lady?
Yeah, a few people was there.
So what did they say? Did you have a chance? Well, you probably didn't have a chance to talk because they did all what they did to take you out of the courtroom and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, and it's like, well, anyway, we'll pray for them as well, because it's a victim here in all cases. And
hey, brother Deangelo, you've got yourself an album out there. We just kind of want to mention that before.
Oh,
the
yes.
End. Exodus is the new album out. It's been out for
No. It's a Broken Chain, but one of the songs in it is Exodus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 13 songs, and you can find it on many platforms. And you're working on some new stuff, and you have a video out there as well. What's the name of the video?
You could just go to YouTube, The Humble King.
The Humble King?
Mm-hmm. All
right. So check that out on YouTube and stuff like that. So hey, bless you, and we'll keep you up in prayer. And we know that God has a way, and He has a way that He's going to guide us through all these valleys and get us back on top of the hill.
That's right. Well, God bless everybody. We will see everybody on Monday, and stay tuned for, this news cycle just never stops. So there'll be something interesting on Monday that we'll cover as well. Don't forget to join us at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for that broadcast.
All right. See you later.
God bless.